Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. SWYM. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? SWYM. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out.
Let's do that.
Welcome to the swimming pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Hey, what's happening? How you been, my friend? That would be me, Travis Bridges. And again, welcome to the swimming pool. It's SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. Let me tell you how excited I was today to get into the new setup and be all live and everything. But of course, I had some technical issues that forced me to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Go to my little cubby, and this is where I be's for tonight. Thank you so much, Anthony Morrow, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. You're going to be up a little late tonight if you're going to be fully supportive, because I have so many different things going on. I have 2 segments for my live stream tonight, and they're going to be special in a lot of ways. I'm going to play the second conversation first and the first one second. That's the intention. However, I may not be able to control that, only because I'm not going to be live during those. I've got to get out of here by 9:30 because I have 2 live streams scheduled. One at 9:30 and then one at 10. They are what they call previews or premieres. So in the description box, I always like to say that because I would hear YouTubers that came long before me. They would say, the information is in the description box. And I would be like, what do you mean description box? Well, now I know. It's the little box that holds the description of what the live stream or podcast is about. So this live stream, once it's finished, or even right now, you can go to the description box and you can click on 100% not good enough intro, and then 100% not good enough the actual presentation. So it's 2 different ones. And if you want to get the gist of what I'm trying to point out, you will need to watch the intro first, which is the second part of the conversation, and then watch the presentation, which is the meat of the point I want to try to share and expose and or bring awareness to, so to speak. I do have a guest that's going to come up in a few minutes, but I can't get my guest on the phone now because I told my guest to be ready between 9 and 9:05 because I would come on and do what I'm doing now, which is the opening / introduction, and I'm doing that. But whatever is going on with my setup, once I hit the streaming software, it just came on and said live, and I knew I was live, so there's a little bit of dead air. And having some radio experience, dead air is not cool. So it's like, okay, I've got to go now. I came on with the intention of just getting ready so that I could count down and then play the intro and go through. but I had to go, and that's what the Bible means when it says, be ye ready at all times. Something I learned in Sunday school that stuck with me, and that's what I tried to do. I have been caught off guard, and who knows, I may be caught off guard again. As a matter of fact, I think my live stream presentation and the intro caught me off guard, and I'm going to talk to my guest about that because it is a little touchy, and I would get into it right now, but because I have a guest, I want to save that juicy part for later. But I will say this: the swimming pool is talk about talking. You hear that in the promo and the intro. And my reason for being here, first of all, is therapy for me. Everybody has something that they do. I can do yoga sometimes. I can go out and run when my knees are not bothering me. I like to just cruise around in the vehicle with the top out and top down. Different things people do for self-therapy. And I found this live stream stuff as therapy because I get to talk. And I don't know what happened to me. I like to run my mouth. Several of my closest friends and family say, hey, don't talk so much. I need to work on that. So pray for me, okay? But what has happened to me throughout my life, I was steered down quite a few different paths that insisted that I get to the bottom of everything. Maybe that's a problem. I don't know yet. I'm still checking it out. But if you've ever spoken to me live or even, in person on my live stream, if I hear something and it's not quite accurate, it's like, hey, what did you say? That's where I get say what you mean, because I go everywhere and I hear people just saying stuff. It's okay when you're shucking and jiving, but I've been bitten by that serious organized, let's see, what did my friend used to call me? What is that word? Obsessive when it comes to paying attention in detail. Maybe it is a disorder. I think I'll go get that checked out. I'm not embarrassed and I'm not ashamed, but I really like to hear what's being said, and I like to know what is actually being meant by what is being said. So that's why throughout all of everything I've been through, I created this live stream, and it's about saying what you mean and meaning what you say and being held accountable for what you say. Even if you have to backtrack, it's okay to say something and then say, oh yeah, okay, I apologize, I meant this, because it happens all the time. Don't act like you haven't talked to somebody and then they say something and then say, oh no, what I really meant was, and it's cool, it's okay to do that, especially in times of conflict. Well, I want to take a break so that I can make it fancy, but I'm not going to do that because my guest should be waiting for me, because I said between 9 and 9:05, and the time is 9:03. And okay, let's see. Am I having a technical issue right now? Come on, man. I can't be having a technical issue right now. Why would that happen? Oh, here it is. All right, let's see what happens. I'm just going to go straight into it and see if I can rock with it and lean with it. I don't have music or anything fancy. This is going to be straight raw dog. It's okay to be raw dog. Come on, answer the phone.
Hello.
What up, though?
What's up, my friend?
It's all good. I'm so glad. It seems like the Lord just works it out when I need you, to be here with me, to hold my hand at certain times. You're kind of there with me. I had someone else to kind of sort of do the same thing not too long ago. And that's just how it is. Wherever you go, there's always a ram in the bushes. And you, the ram in the bush tonight. I've got some heavy and deep stuff to drop on you. I'm going to do a lot of talking, but when you speak, you're going to have to really come with it, because I'm going to throw you a slider right down the middle, and I know you are a home run hitter, so don't swing and miss, okay?
Okay.
Okay, before we get into it, how has your day been?
Oh, it's been long.
Yeah.
It's long, but it's okay. It is
Okay.
what it is.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you, I have a guest coming up later, and it's not going to be live. I have it pre-recorded and I have it set to start at 9:30. So we're going to have to definitely be long gone by then, because I kind of want to get me some popcorn and re-listen myself. Although I did spend a little time putting it together so that I could make a presentation. I did have someone that I know that was vulnerable enough to trust me with some very sacred information, and it was okay, according to my guest, that I air it and use it the way I wanted to use it. And I am using it hopefully for educational purposes, although part of it is somewhat entertaining. I just kind of really want to bring awareness to listening and hearing and paying attention to how communication and conversation can go and either take a left turn, a right turn, or it could crash into a tree. Sometimes we have to back up and go around certain things. But I believe in thorough communication. And oftentimes, even you and me, sometimes we'll get into it and we just have to say, okay, I'm gonna get with you later. But, I guess maybe our friendship is not that serious to where we lose sleep, or sometimes we don't follow up. But there are some conversations that need following up on. We need clarity, we need closure. And although we can put on our bad hat and say, I don't care, and move on, and that's cool if you can do that. But there are conversations that really need to be clarified and completed. And I guess this is one that I at least thought needed to be. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. You have any questions so far? Because I'm about to dive in deep. I hope you can swim.
No, I have no questions. You got my full attention.
Okay, now before I get into it, I had someone say something to me. I kind of want to share it with you. It's kind of sort of like an icebreaker joke, kind of. They were talking to me about delivery of some people, and I gave the example of two people that you probably know well. One is Eddie Murphy, clap, 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 and the other is Joel Osteen. Two different people, correct?
Yes.
Two different deliveries, correct?
Yes.
Two different stages and audiences, correct?
Yes.
So, I'm going to create a skit and I want you to follow me. Put this in your head. I'm a movie director now. Okay, here I am walking down the street and I run into Eddie Murphy and I say, "What's up, Eddie?" And he said, "What's up?" And I say, "Hey, listen, man, I was just thinking, and you know what I want you to do? I want you to change what you do, and I want you to start delivering your messages like Joel Osteen, because Joel Osteen, he doesn't use profanity. He's calm. He's different. Can you do that?" What do you think Eddie Murphy would say? Never mind. You don't have to answer. Okay, I've got on another hat now. I'm walking down the street and I see Joel Osteen over there and I say, "Hey, Joel," and he say, "Hey, Travis, how you doing? God loves you." And I would say, "Hey, Joel." Right, I know, right? I'll say, "Hey, Joel, I want to talk to you. I was just listening to Eddie Murphy and he was real funny. And you know what I really think you need to do? I think you need to start, on Sunday, I think you need to start delivering your message like Eddie Murphy, because he cusses and he gets people involved. And just because you're in church, people need to have fun. What do you think, Joel? Why don't you start delivering your message like Eddie Murphy?" What do you think Joel Osteen would say?
Can't do that, Travis.
Exactly. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it as I get into the title of my live streams. That's coming up at 9:30 and at 10 Eastern Standard Time on my channel. The link is in the description. It's entitled 100% Not Good Enough. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. This started because one of my friends decided to kind of sort of share something that, just kind of, just kind of casually talk to me about something. And when she mentioned it, it struck a little nerve down inside of me. You know how things trigger us, and then before you know it, we're all out front, not even realizing that the curtain is open and people are watching. Okay,
Yes.
so this was me, because when she mentioned this, to me, of course, we went into some of the detail, but it struck a nerve in me. And what I decided to do was I would talk to her before I gave any kind of information and advice. And that's what the conversation was about. And it had to do with a subject that's very touchy for me. And I'm going to tell you what it is in 5, 4, 3, 2. You ready for me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. The subject is about marriage and divorce. See, I'm trying to hold back tears already. I've been through both, and they can be rewarding and they can be painful at the same time. So when my friend started to talk about it, this is what she said. She said, my ex-husband asked me to remarry. And of course, everything about my own situation just rushed through my brain, through my heart, and my heart just went like 100 miles per hour. And I'm a little touchy when it comes to that level of commitment. I'm not going to get deep into it right now, but in my book that's coming out later, I talk about that experience of having such a commitment and then being able to weasel out of it from a legal perspective, knowing that I had a spiritual commitment and a covenant with God and my former spouse, but legally I was able to take a back door or side door, and that was enough for me. At least I thought it was. But during that time of separation, of divorce, I experienced some things that were very difficult for me. And of course, there's something called cognitive dissonance. I hope I'm saying it right. We find a way to put it out of our mind while it's in our face the whole time, and we just go ahead and live with it. But then as time goes on and you look back at how far you've come down that road, some way, somehow, you start to gain a little knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, not so much in that order. So as I went on into the conversation, I wanted to eventually get to the point of sharing with my friend that I had some blowback, for lack of a better word, of breaking that commitment, moving on with my life, and then having to live with myself during that separation time. So as I began to listen and examine and question for information and clarity and knowledge about what she was talking about, I started to dig deep into it, and it got a little funky in the conversation. And I understand sometimes when you come out with one intention and your conversation goes in a different direction, it gets a little funky. And before you know it, like I said, you're out, doing a dance, not realizing anyone is watching. And maybe that's what happened to both of us, because the conversation really did get deep, and you'll be able to hear the first conversation and the second conversation, and they are deep. But in the spirit of moving on and trying to close and get to my point, I wanted her, and I guess anybody else that would listen to me, to see what we have as opposed to what we want, and or to take a look at what we need and what's good and best for us, instead of what we want or what is good to us. I like to use all kinds of nutritional examples. We like to eat stuff that's good to us, and we see what it does to us. But then the things that are good for us, we don't necessarily like it, but we know if we would discipline ourselves what it would do. So that same thing just kind of carries over, into relationships, into jobs, into our money, how we spend it. The list goes on and on. So trying to stay focused and getting back to the point, I wanted to have the conversation about what she was saying she had and why, like, herself and most of us, we decide we don't want what may be good and or best for us for whatever reason. And we find a way to be okay with what works for us, whether it's the best thing or it's definitely good to us. When by the time we make a decision about something that we're having to backpedal on, we've already convinced ourselves. And I am going to stand up and raise which on the computer, it's my left, but this is my right hand. I'm guilty of being okay with something that is not always right. And I'll start with, my diet and nutrition, and sometimes the way I spend my money, and even in the past, my marriage relationship that, I was able to, again, legally remove myself from. So I'm going to try to get back to the point, because this could really go on, and I still have about 12 minutes before I let you speak. As I listened, I could hear what seemed to be areas of her life that were not necessarily as comfortable as she may have imagined or may have thought. And the idea that I heard her say that her ex-husband invited her back, to something that may be a little more stable, but not necessarily the good feeling, was something that I just wanted to discover. And I guess it definitely could have been mistaken as I was gunning for, well, maybe you should do it. Maybe you should go back. I never said that, and it's not what I meant. But I was opening the door to how perhaps maybe it wouldn't be the worst idea considering the current circumstances. And I wanted to get through all of the questions and answers and responses so that I could say, hey, listen, there was a time that I was once divorced. And looking back, I know women are not supposed to ask men, but they can have, some kind of suggestions. I wasn't strong enough to do it myself, although I thought about it a few times. But again, when you're out and you're comfortable, you just move on, even when you know it's not the right or the best thing. You just find a way to cognitive dissonance or distance yourself from whatever. Like, when the pizza comes, you shouldn't be eating it, but you just go ahead and hurry up and finish it, and then you start your diet the next day. Okay, you get my point. So I wanted to go through that and get to the point of where I would say, okay, I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I trust you are doing what's right and what's best for you overall. But I really want you to analyze what you're saying and what you're telling yourself for truth and accuracy, and not just feeling belief or necessarily a bad experience, because we can all change. We can all do better. And I don't believe there's anyone on the whole planet that if we put our heart and mind into something, we can make it work. We can pursue change for the better, even in the worst situations. Sometimes people have to hit rock bottom before they rise all the way to the top. And I'm going to try to close and let you speak a little bit. I wanted to open the door to her just examining all the options, not just the feelings. And maybe I was, okay, let me just try it on. Maybe I was partial to the idea of reconsidering making that right, wrong, or wrong, right. Sometimes we do marry the wrong person. And if that's the case, by all means, stay away from someone you shouldn't be. But I heard some things that were, that gave me hope that maybe if there was some effort on both parts, maybe they could figure out a way to have a beautiful testimony of the rekindling of a, once failed union. So it's heavy, it's deep, it's emotional, it's touchy, And you will hear in both conversations how it actually gets real funky, especially when I try to follow up and really close it out. And I'm going to say this, I'm really going to quit. There's a part of, the conversation, especially the intro, where I am just kind of flat out embarrassed because my friend just kind of out of frustration, and what was her word? Annoyed. She said she was annoyed. Out of her annoyance, she kind of put me in my place quite a few times, and it did not feel good. So I'm being vulnerable, just putting it out there, saying, okay, well, this is one of those conversations that was very difficult to have, and where I was kind of wishing it had gone a different way, but it needed to be had, and I'm grateful that she wanted me to share it or expose it. And I'm hoping that maybe I will hear something over time, maybe she will hear something over time, that we can grow from it instead of just being nasty towards each other because we didn't like how it sounded or how it felt. I still love her as a dear friend. She's cool people. I know she means well, so I don't hold any grudges. And I hope she doesn't hold any against me. And again, anyone that comes on my live stream, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a preacher, pastor, minister, none of that stuff. But I am confident in my ability to hear and listen and analyze without prejudice or without being biased. I hope I'm saying the right thing. And I have confidence in myself to be able to do that because I've been kicked hard enough to know what it feels like to kick, and as well as being kicked. And I'm at an age now where wisdom may have sat in. And although I may not like everything or may not agree with everything, I can be truthful with information that's presented to me. So that's why I have this live stream, and I listen. Even when someone needs to get me straight, I'm okay with it. I like to say all the time, I don't want anyone to prove me wrong. But if I'm ever talking about something, I really want to hear all of the information that either supports or does not support whatever side I decide to, I don't want to say choose, but whatever I think is right, good, and or best. I don't mind being challenged for accuracy. So with that being said, I'm going to shut it, and I'm gonna let you talk unless you have nothing to say, because I'm going to close and rock with it and lean with it.
Well, I don't have very much to say because at the end of the day, I agree with what you said in terms of, she's the one that has to make a decision if she's open to opening up another union with her ex-husband. No one knows that but her and him, And I didn't listen to the conversation, or I will try to listen to the one that's going to show up in a couple minutes so that I can hear the dialogue between the two of you. But,
put some oil on. Go get your blessed oil and put it on your ears and on your heart, before you do it. Maybe you should take a shot or something. I don't know. Go and get prayed for. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay. But anytime that you're talking about matters of the heart, it's a hard conversation, especially with two people who love each other but may not like each other today. So it's a hard thing, and the only people that's involved can really try to work it out and figure it out.
That's true.
It's a difficult situation, but I've known a couple people who have remarried. I have a friend right now who did remarry her husband after they separated for several years. They seem to be doing just fine.
Okay.
So.
Well, I was saying a few minutes ago that maybe I wasn't taking sides, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take a side. I didn't get through the full conversation, and I don't know her experiences. Maybe it was just, so bad that she cannot make any kind of adjustments, to where maybe she could reconsider that and seriously think about it. But I heard enough to say, okay, it's worth at least a try. But I guess I am pro marriage or pro union, so to speak. And if she, the things she said about her, her ex-husband, and, I could hear that it was at least, I don't even have words. I'm going to try to stop because I don't want to go over my time. The things she said just made me think that maybe it's worth getting through the conversation to talk about. And again, I respect her. If she says absolutely not, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm glad she shared it with me. And I hope I'll be able to, to understand even better myself and even support her in whatever her efforts are moving forward. Anyway, with that being said, you did real good in listening to me. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
I do try to be I do try to listen when I can.
Yeah, and in closing, I just still want to say, I don't want to be anybody's enemy. I don't want to be a know-it-all. I don't think I know everything. But I do have some concepts that at least my live stream is built on. I really believe, indeed, there's an answer to every question and there's a solution to every problem. However, the individuals involved need to understand the importance of listening, hearing, and I have these filters that I like to talk about. There's something called universal principles, meaning there's things that just cannot be changed. They are just ordained from the foundation of the earth. And no matter what we do or say or how much we stomp and cry and spit and cuss, we can't change those things. There's another another tier called points of references. These are things that are accepted by a society, things that are considered a reasonable expectation that maybe have already been established, that may or may not be universal principles, but are based on universal principles. And of course, there is law. And I'm learning the hard way in many ways that the law and the truth are very different. That's a whole nother live stream. But I believe anytime, in particular, when there's chaos or disagreements, if we can listen to questions, information, evidence, even excuses, and run those through the filters of universal principles, points of references in law, and just common reasoning and decency, as opposed to our own personal feelings, thoughts, and belief, I believe we can really get to the bottom. But it's very difficult to do when we're spoiled and we got a lot of mouth. But anyway, I've got 3 minutes. I'm gonna let you say something to go before I go, and then I'm gonna thank you and kiss you and love on you and let you go. So go ahead. Closing statements. Statement.
I wish her well and whatever her decision she decides to make. And, it's a tough decision, but she'll make the right one for herself.
Of course she will. Of course. And I believe that. And I will continue to pray for her and support her and be there as a brother and a friend, as I always have. Whether she likes it or not, or whether I like what she says or does or not, I don't think I'll ever not be cool. One of my life coaches says, don't ever cut people off. If you just be you, they'll either drop off or, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. But on that note, with my 99 seconds left, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. I love you. And we're going to talk again. Okay?
Absolutely. Love you back.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. There you have it, my friends. Another edition of SWYM. Say what you mean. SWYM. Do go to the description and click on the live stream that's coming up next. If you are a subscriber, you probably know already, but I'm gonna go and get me some popcorn and I'm gonna watch and listen to, and I'm gonna open my heart and my mind. Maybe I will hear something. Maybe I might need to apologize or revamp my thinking. And I just hope that maybe if you hear something that you will also be blessed, because that is the intention of why I'm here. Therapy for me, with hopes that someone else can use the information. In La Vida Real says, very interesting topic. Thank you for that. Tasha says, okay. And Anthony Morrow just sends a wave. To all of you and everyone else that watch and listen either now or later, I appreciate it. And if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to chat with you. TravisBridges2@AOL.com. Put whatever you want to talk about or want me to discuss in the topic. I will gladly open my mouth and speak about it because I'm not embarrassed to talk. Till the next time, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your loved ones. Take good care of yourself. Find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but mean it. Okay? Check out the live stream coming up in exactly 30 seconds. Good night.
SWYM. Swim. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone, but you got to keep on searching.
You got to keep on keeping on. Yes, you do.
For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching, keep on searching, keep it on the cool side. Keep on looking around.
Good night, y'all, and thank you so much.
We had a conversation. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yesterday, right? We didn't finish that conversation, I don't think. Do you think we finished it?
I'm not sure what you mean by finishing it.
Did we finish the conversation? Did we have all thoughts and, did we have, did you have a clear mind after we hung up the phone?
No, I was annoyed by some of the comments you made.
So that's, okay, yeah. So then that's what constitutes me saying I don't think we finished. Because I wasn't annoyed, but I had more, I thought that there needed to be some more communication. So I think it's safe to say we didn't finish. So are you in agreement with me that we didn't finish?
I thought we finished.
Well, okay. I'm asking you a specific question, and then you're telling me your thoughts about it. And if that's your answer, then fine. I just want to be sure. I'm asking you. I don't think we finished the conversation. You verified it by saying you were annoyed. And if you were annoyed, that wasn't the reason I wanted to have a conversation. If it was even possible to have peace, then I wanted to make sure we finished the conversation so that there would be peace. And if I had more thoughts, views, and comments and questions, and you were annoyed, that's enough for me to say that perhaps we did not finish the conversation. Are you in agreement that the conversation could have continued?
Oh, that it could have continued, sure.
Okay, so that's what I wanted, is just a confirmation on what I'm saying. So we didn't schedule a time, and we didn't decide if we were going to actually have a physical conversation, a verbal conversation. But I did get a follow-up from you, quite a few today. And you followed up with your thoughts, views, and comments without me having the opportunity to respond. And you said quite a few things that were inaccurate, that were untrue, that I thought were emotionally based, and that I thought were just flat out irrelevant. And I would like for you to clarify what it is you were saying to me, because you were saying some things today that were consistent with what you just said. You were aggravated. In your words were you were annoyed. So the tone of your text messages today were consistent with someone who was annoyed. I would like to think that my communication style, and especially with you, that I am very clear with what I say. So if you are annoyed by something, I would like to know that it's not because I was inaccurate myself or just flat out wrong. And that maybe if you were annoyed that it was something that was totally related to how you chose as opposed to something that I actually contributed to. So my reason for wanting to finish the conversation is based on the annoyed tone that you seem to express today. So we can start by me just asking you, what were you annoyed by?
I was annoyed by you saying several times during our conversation yesterday and alluding to emotional instability. I find that offensive.
Okay, stop for a second. Can you stop?
Why do I have to stop?
Because
No,
I don't understand you. If you,
well,
why
let
do
me
you?
finish
Okay,
talking.
hold on. Can you please? I ask you to talk. I am wanting to make, because if you go on, it's why I am confused and why you may be annoyed. So the moment you say something, I want clarity before you go on. If you're digging for gold and you're digging in the wrong place, why do you even want to keep digging?
I'm not digging for
I didn't say you were. I said I am giving you an analogy of how a conversation can stay focused and to avoid confusion. If you continue to communicate and talk when I am not on board with you, that's how we get annoyed and misunderstood. If you make a statement, I don't want to interrupt you, but why must you want to keep going if I am not understanding what you're saying? Like, for instance, if you're talking in English and all of a sudden you start speaking Chinese, I'm going to say, hold on, let me change my translator so that I can understand you. That's all I'm asking. I'm not interrupting you or being disrespectful. But you started talking and you made a statement with something that I'm not clear on. And I am asking you with the most calm voice, the most kind and humble way I can, to let's have a conversation where we can be clear with each other. And if you start talking and you're not clear, I need you to be patient with me.
I'm not interested in playing games with you. I'm not. Whatsoever. I'm fine with being your friend. I'm not interested in playing games. Our conversation yesterday was done. You made statements. You made assumptions. And you get to do with it as you want. I've given you permission. You can do whatever you want with it. Because I came to you as a friend. You want to document it? You want to air it? Go for it. I really don't give a shit. But your statements, you're not going to take them back, and you don't have to. Your assumptions, you don't have to take them back, and I know you won't. So keep them. I'm not here to convince you of anything. You are who you are. You think what you think. You want to be proven right. You want to prove your point. Do it. I'm just not going to partake in this bullshit. That's all. That is all.
When you say partake, does that mean you're not going to have a conversation with me as you just agreed to?
I'm not going to play your games. I'm going to answer when I need to answer. I'm going to talk when I need to talk. And if you can't handle that because your brain cannot tolerate a whole lot of information, I can't help you with that, bro. That's on you.
So does that mean if I need clarity, you're not going to be clear with me?
Of course. I'm always fucking crystal clear. When have I not been clear with you?
But you're asking a question. I asked you a question and you didn't answer my question. What I'm trying to make sure I understand, you're saying that if I need you to be clear, are you saying that you're not going to be clear with me, or you will?
I am always clear with you.
Okay. You use the word always. That's an inaccurate statement, because there are many times that I don't understand you and you're not clear. So you just made a lot of statements, and I'm trying to ask you if what you're saying, what you're meaning. If you're going to have the conversation with me, I'm asking you if there's a time that I'm not understanding you, will you be clear with me if I ask for clarity?
I always do.
Well, you say you always do, and you said it before. Always is a very powerful and strong word. If I'm telling you that you're not always clear and or that I don't always understand you, then that doesn't invalidate what you just said. It just makes it a little inaccurate as it relates to our conversation or me. So I'm just asking you a yes or no question. If you're speaking and I'm not clear, will you allow yourself to be clear or allow me to understand what you're saying? Because I don't want to miss what you're saying.
Anybody that has a conversation with you, anybody.
You're not answering my question. You're now trying to...
Yes, I am. I am. Anybody that has a conversation with you is put in a place where clarity is the only way. So when I say always, I mean always. Because even when I evade or try to evade a question or try to evade an answer, you make sure you get what you want. So yes, my answer is yes. I will be clear with you, as I've always have been. Crystal clear.
Okay. I'm not sure you were crystal clear, and if you were, I didn't understand. I want to know, as if you can give me the short version, if you can. If you can't, then go ahead. I may need to get clarity as you try to explain. What in particular were you annoyed by based on our conversation on yesterday?
Several times you call me emotionally unstable. I was annoyed by that.
Okay,
Several
stop.
times.
Can you stop for a second, please? Because I have a question about what you just said. I have the conversation documented. Did I say you were emotionally unstable, or did you just feel that that's what I was saying? Did those words come out of my mouth and call you emotionally unstable, yes or no?
I'm not playing this game with you, bro. I'm not. I'm done with it, Travis. You have your conversation. You do as you wish with it. I am not doing this. I have to go to work tomorrow. I respect our friendship too much to go down this rabbit hole with you. This is circular reasoning. It does not get people anywhere. I have no time to entertain this. None whatsoever. Take the conversation, do as you wish, embellish it as you wish, put all the dramatic music and pictures and emojis. Take it and do what you want with it. I'll never look at it. I'll never listen to it. I don't give two about it. That's how I feel. You don't want to know my feelings? Don't call me. But that's where I'm at. I'm not playing games with you. I'm not. It's not entertaining. It's offensive. It really is. Do you have any other questions for me? I have to go to bed.
I do have quite a few.
Well, this was not scheduled. You just called me out of the blue wanting to talk about this. We've been going back and forth via text. I explained to you my feelings. I explained to you how you carry yourself. I explain to you what I like and don't like. If you don't understand it, reread my text.
So what you are saying, based on what came out of your mouth, is that you told me a lot of things that I did not ask you. You just wanted to tell me your feelings. You didn't tell me anything that was factual or truth. They were all just feelings.
They were thoughts from a good friend to another good friend.
I hear that part. I'm trying to get clarity on what you're saying. And you continue to make long, drawn out statements that I'm not sure where they're coming from.
You don't respect, that you don't analyze, that you don't care for, because you just want to show your agenda.
So you're speaking for me? You're telling me how I feel? That's what you just did.
That's what I'm telling you what you do.
No, but that's what you just did. You just told me what I feel.
Nope. I'll tell you what you do. I'm not inside of you to know what you feel.
So then why would you say that I don't care and I don't respect you? You just said that.
Because you do it. Because your actions are louder than your words. You don't know that? Actions are louder than words. That's how you act. That's how you behave. That's how you treat others. That's how you treat me. You don't want to know all the details. You want to know what you want to know.
You're making a statement that I don't get to clarify, and it's about me. You are correct. Of course you get
to clarify it. Go ahead, clarify it.
I can't clarify it if you're over-talking me and out-talking me. The moment you say something that needs clarification, that is the moment that I try to clarify. You just said I don't, and that's why I want to stop, because I kind of sort of forget. My brain doesn't go long on long drawn out emotions. What you say is important. So if I hear you say something, I want to make sure I understand it. And it's okay. I guess I can rewind so that I can just explain later. Like you said, I'll put all of my dramatics, because you know what? I don't mind. I will express myself clear, whether someone listens or not, because it's important to me that I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And if you don't want clarity, that's fine. But you said, I don't want to know. You're right. I called you. I'm trying to talk to you, and you're going to tell me that I don't want to know something? The truth in that is I may not want to hear it at the time I'm asking something else. So if I ask you one thing and you start to tell me something else, that is true, that at that particular time I probably don't want to hear it. And I won't back down from that, whether I'm right or wrong. And I don't think if I'm wrong, then you can just prove that I'm wrong. But there is no proof in me asking you one thing and you wanting to tell me 10 other things. So you're right. I don't want to hear certain things at certain times, and I won't be embarrassed by that. If I ask you the price of eggs and you start telling me how good grape Kool-Aid is, I'm going to say, okay, we're kind of off subject. And that is what happens. Well, I'm not going to talk about anyone else, but that's what happens with you often. When I ask you for clarity on one thing, you tell me something about something else. And I just asked you a question and you started telling me you're not going to play these games.
I'm not.
Okay. So at any time, then or now, if you just hang up the phone in my face, I'm okay with that. But as long as I believe I have your attention, I'm going to try to have a conversation about what I want to know about what you're saying. And if you start telling me something outside of what I want to know, I guess I can let you finish. But clarity is important to me, because what has been happening right now in my effort to try to talk to you is a lot of confusion. I ask you something and then you start telling me something different repeatedly.
Okay, then can I please set up one standard? Yes or no?
Sure.
When you ask me a question, ask me a specific question. Do not ask me for a narrative and then interrupt me because you don't want to hear the whole narrative. If you want one answer about yesterday so that you can address it, then tell me, hey, whoever, right? We don't mention names. Hey, tell me one thing about yesterday that I know you. And I'll give you one.
This will be the 4th time that I've tried to do that. And when you started, I asked for clarity.
Yeah,
and then,
break.
Pardon?
Give me a break. The 4th time, really?
Yes, I've counted.
Of course you do, because that's what you do. You count so that then you can say, this is the 4th time. I gotta go, bro. I got work tomorrow. I really do.
Okay.
All right? Have a good night.
All right.